The gut health aisle is booming, but not all ferments are created equal. Plastic vats, added sugars, and watered down probiotics are everywhere. What if sauerkraut could actually be clean, alive, crafted with integrity? In this episode of The Dean's List, I'm sitting down with Cristina and Chris of Local Culture Ferments, the husband and wife team turning farmers market jars into a wellness brand rooted in sustainability, probiotics, and real flavor. If you're into conversations about building well, from fermentation to conscious business to food as medicine, please hit subscribe. Don't miss an episode. Enjoy this one. I'm Alison Dean. I've scaled companies, led global teams, and I'm a lifelong student of well-being. And yes, motherhood is part of that curriculum. After years partnering with visionary leaders, I know the future belongs to those who create with care. Welcome to The Dean's List. More than a podcast, this is a community of thoughtful founders, creative minds, and conscious consumers. If that's you, congratulations. You're already on the list. Welcome to The Dean's List, where we explore the art of building well. I'm your host, Alison Dean, and today's guests believe food should nourish more than the body. It should honor the earth, respect the process, and carry culture forward. From farmers market beginnings to a brand now reaching tables across the country, husband and wife duo Cristina and Chris of Local Culture Ferments have built their business on integrity, transparency, and taste. And I for sure can attest to the taste part because not all sauerkraut is created equal. Their jars pack some flavor. So, Cristina, Chris, thank you, and welcome to The Dean's List.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having us. We're excited to be here.
Thanks, Alison.
Maybe some people have somehow missed your jars at the market. And so, can you talk a little bit about what local culture is? For those that might be new to it, how did it begin?
Local culture is some far out sauerkraut. It's not your typical grandma's sauerkraut. We have really unique flavor profiles that we have kind of developed over the years. Stuff that's like bright and colorful. We have like a turmeric ginger jalapeno, a beet fennel, like deep earthy ruby tones. We have a delicious kimchi, all sorts of offerings we have at this point. Local culture started as a family affair, you would say. My sister and brother-in-law started the original idea and brought it to a farmer's market in Bend, Oregon. Their response was very overwhelming for them, very supported by their community. And quickly, we lived down in Grass Valley, California. We put our heads together and thought of how we could both represent these awesome products and start at our farmers markets and just kind of test the waters and see what would happen.
We have a really vibrant and thriving farming community here in Grass Valley. So our idea was like, how can we work with what we have here? Our town's very small. It's 2 towns, Nevada City and Grass Valley, 4 miles from each other. But it's very like community centered and oriented. Like our farmers market is very little, but bursting at the seams. We wanted to figure out how can we work with the local farmers and tap into that farming community alongside Sarah and Paul doing that in Bend. And so we just simultaneously worked the farmers markets.
So you both were doing farmers markets just in the different cities. So they were producing in Oregon and you guys were producing in Grass Valley, but you guys were using the same recipes for production?
Yep. Yeah, we were doing the same recipes. We had our facility here. They had their facility there.
Commissary kitchens at this point.
Yep.
Just
Yes.
very small.
I remember like a dingy basement for storage. And we worked with our farmers here. I don't remember if they worked with their farmers there.
No, they did. Yeah. So that's the real foundation of it. We call them local fermentation hubs is what we did. Every now and then we would get crossover of like somebody that was just in Bend and they came to our farmers market and they're like, wait, what? We just met the people up there. And so it was a cool model. It was a brilliant scheme to kind of grassroots grow a customer base in parts of the West Coast.
Right.
It also became very confusing very quickly for people, including ourselves. But it all just kind of evolved quickly to what it became today into more of a wholesale retail thing where we actually started finding retail partners that wanted to work with us. And then little by little, as we continued to do farmers markets, it kind of gravitated towards just Grass Valley And shortly thereafter, my sister and brother-in-law stopped and started another fermentation venture. It kind of evolved to something over there. And that was the seed of how Local Culture started.
When they sort of rolled off into another endeavor, and then you both kind of took the reins on scaling this business.
Yeah.
Okay. I know a lot of like home bakers and homemaker people that do things in their kitchen, right? And sell them, maybe not at the farmers markets, but like they sell locally, right?
Yeah.
And even getting a commercial kitchen to do stuff is kind of like a big step up. So when you started, was that overwhelming for you? Like, what did all that look like? Just kind of getting the infrastructure started for like those entrepreneurs out there that are like, they don't even know how to do that. What was that like for you?
I mean, we're definitely self-taught. I can speak for myself. Like in the beginning, when we did just the Nevada City Farmers Market, it was so exciting. I've done several farmers markets in my past lives, so it was fun to be back in that role. And then we grew to the Tahoe area farmers markets, and then we grew to down kind of Sacramento area farmers market. And then it got a little too much, but that was all kind of manageable. And then as far as like the paperwork that's needed to understand the logistics, it was a guessing game. Like we would just call our county and be like, we want to do this. What do we need to do?
Right.
It was overwhelming for me. I can speak for myself. Yeah, just you have an idea of something that sounds cool, and then you go to do it, and there's like this massive list of things and things you have to pay for to be able to just get to a point.
That's right.
To be able to sell something.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just within farmers markets. And then when you start, going to the next levels and the next levels, it's incredibly overwhelming. And yeah, we were self-taught. There was nobody holding our hand. Or I wish in hindsight that I would have reached out to more people, more companies who had done what we were doing and asked more questions, because I more just tried to Google and then try, and then it wouldn't work, and then try this and didn't work, and try that.
Like lots of anonymous cold calls of like, say we want to do this, calling like the State Department, not dropping our brand name, just asking for a friend kind of thing.
Phone a friend. Yeah. I mean, that is pretty impressive. I feel like to applaud people that are really going into something and kind of figuring it out as you go and feeling the overwhelm of it. What do you think was like the driver? Because so many people would just go, oh God, like this is too much for me. Or like the overwhelm would take over and they just say, yep, change your mind. What was it that kept you going?
I'm married to a visionary over here. So
yeah.
I was like, what is happening? I just feel like you had this vision of like, we can do this, we can make this. And
so slightly disillusional, to be totally honest, because there's passion, right? And passion of the product and fermentation. I have a lot behind that. We can share a lot of passion behind that.
Mm-hmm.
But then you get into this idea that like, oh, this passion project could actually support our family. That's the disillusional part of it that I wish I had known more in the beginning. But, had I known that, then we wouldn't be where we are today. So I'm really glad that I didn't know all of these things.
Yeah.
But yeah, it really was the passion, the feedback from the people, like the looks in people's eyes that really did it for me, for us. Fast forwarding a little bit from farmers market, we then decided like, okay, we need our own kitchen, and searched far and wide in our local area for our own kitchen. Well, we found one that had a storefront. It was brick and mortar in downtown Grass Valley.
Oh,
this is cool. And then the county told us like, you can do this, but you can't be a closed door facility here. You have to have an open storefront.
Oh,
like, what could we do here? We decided to make a all things fermented market.
Live foods marketplace.
Live foods marketplace is what we called it. This was a place where we literally spent all of our time, apart from raising a child at home.
Yeah.
In this brick and mortar, face to face with people, customers, right?
Yeah.
And this is where we really got that hands-on experience of fun fermentation. That was all the experimental, like, what can we put in a jar? What could we ferment and put in a jar and put in the cooler?
Yeah.
And then sampling, like anybody that came in would sample. That's how we did what we did. And then seeing people's faces and seeing them light up. Like, it really felt at that point like, wow, we're doing something cool. We're like making a difference and people like it.
Mm-hmm.
So those were the things, if I like really reflect back on what kept us going in the beginning, that was it. It was like, this is fun. This is exciting. It seems to be working. Everybody seems to like it.
Right.
What next? What are we going to do now?
I mean, that is the ultimate validation when you can get real-time feedback from customers and they're telling you, like, this is awesome. I feel like it all rests on that. And so many companies can't do that in real time. It's just not possible. So that's actually a serendipitous thing that you had to open this this storefront in a way, because wow, that's pretty cool. I do feel like your stuff, and I won't name names of other companies. I have a longtime favorite sauerkraut from when I was growing up. Like my dad, who grew up in Brooklyn, he grew up on the Pickles, Bubbies. They make one sauerkraut, right? It's like only one thing. And I still love their sauerkraut. They do,
Great.
I think, a good job with their one thing, right? But I would try other things. I was eating it because I knew it was good for me to do it, but the taste just like was not there, right? And then I think it was just a random thing. When I saw your jar at the market and then I saw the flavor combo, I was like, that's compelling. The first one was the turmeric jalapeno one. And the minute I ate it, I was like, this is different than all the others. Like it was instantaneous that I knew you were both onto something. I mean, there was definitely something to be said for whatever you created, because man, I don't know how some of these other companies survive, because I think their stuff is just not good. I had to throw away one from Costco because I was like, this is real gross. Like, this is not good at all. Okay, anyway. So speaking of gross, because I feel like, yes, we see more fermentation type products everywhere now. I feel like you both made the decision to ferment in stainless steel. You package everything in glass, which also I applaud. So would love to hear from you how you both think those choices affect the flavor compared to like using plastic, etc.
Well, the flavor, I don't know that that's going to affect the flavor to the average person. It's the non-visible things.
Also kind of texture a little bit.
It can. Yeah.
But it's more than non-visible. Yeah.
So yeah, from the beginning, we started out like trying to use crocks and glass and all these different things and asking all these people questions of like, what are other ways of doing this besides buckets and pickle barrels?
Plastic, really.
Plastic. And there's some incredible companies out there that definitely helped steer us in the right direction. Most of those companies are pretty small. Some people share their knowledge about this and some people don't. But we just decided to try the path of the stainless steel fermenters, and it was a very rough start into it. I feel like it was super complicated. We had so much corrosion and popped lids, and we would put too much in the fermenters and they would overflow on the floor and all these different things.
Wow.
But eventually we got to a place, or I got to a place because I was more at the hands-on fermentation, that I felt like, okay, I've got this and I understand it and I can see how we can scale it and we can get more and more fermenters and we can get slightly larger fermenters as we go.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole basis of the whole concept is that fermented foods, what they do in us, these acidic lactic acid bacteria, it's these acidic microbes. They pull toxins and they can store them in their own bodies. And when we eat these microbes, they can pull toxins out of us and help us expel them. So if you think about what happens in the fermentation process, they're sitting a month or longer in plastic. They're also going to pull those PFAs, those microplastics, those toxins out of that. And then we then consume them. And there's a certain amount of those that gets to us, right? Because we don't expel everything that we eat.
Right.
So it comes down to this concept, if you get into brewing or winemaking,
Mm-hmm.
with this concept, what quality brewer or winemaker ferments in plastic? Nobody does,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so I was like, why is it with pickles and sauerkraut and fermented foods that the vast majority of people use plastic? Well, I can tell you their reasons. It's cheaper.
Yeah.
Right.
Easier to clean. You don't get corrosion. You don't have a lot of these issues that we would have with ours when it's not happening properly.
Okay.
But it didn't feel right to me.
Mm-hmm.
So from the get-go, we were like, all right, we're going to do this and we're going to continue to do this. It's very expensive. We invested close to $100,000 in stainless steel fermenters when we didn't have the money to invest in it. But we just chose a path and we went forward. And we've attempted to share that with our customers. Most people don't read labels, but you can read about it on our packaging.
Mm-hmm.
Try and share what we can through whatever little voices that we have out there. But yeah, we got to a place where we felt like, okay, our sauerkraut's like all over the place. We're the only company that has these strong ethics behind us that is at the scale that we were at, that was fermenting in quality fermenters and actually caring about the product that's out there.
Yeah.
That felt good when we got to that place, and it still feels good.
It should. I think it should. I do think the taste, there's got to be something though. Because I feel like, yeah, to your point, Cristina, too, maybe it does make it like mushier or something in plastic.
Temperature.
Yeah, that's temperature.
Temperature and microbe. There's so many things that can happen. And even when you think that you know it, you don't know it. Like, we will get a mushy batch. We try and not put it out into the world.
Yeah, right.
That's the difference. And that's like the small batch aspect of what we do. We've thrown out, that's another big part of what we do. We compost. We actively compost. So we never throw out, but we don't jar up a bunch of product often.
Right.
It's a waste for us as manufacturers, but it's not a waste for the soil that we're building and the farms that we're working on.
Yes, I love that. It's all kind of synergistic together. Okay, so speaking of composting, so sustainability is obviously very much a part of your DNA. So you're composting the food waste, you're sourcing organic, you're refusing the plastic. Which of those do you think has been the hardest to like maintain with your scaling?
I gotta say, I think that we really lucked out on the composting piece.
Okay.
That would have been the hardest. You might have a different answer, but
yeah, no, that can be really hard to do at scale.
I mean, the first day of production, I remember day one, we had the huge trash bins. And we're like cutting the cabbage, peeling the leaves, cutting all the veggies, and just like throwing them in the trash. Like, we compost at home. We always have. We have a garden at home. It just didn't make any sense.
We didn't know if we legally could. There's all these regulations of like what you can do.
I don't remember.
Yeah. And we quickly realized, yes, you can compost. We were okay with environmental health to have clean compost bins, and I could throw them in my truck every day and bring them home.
Okay.
Then we started composting at home, which was very fun in the beginning. And then it got to a point where every day I was literally coming home with a truckload. And then at the end of, 9 plus 10 hours in the kitchen, I'd have to spend sometimes close to an hour trying to properly compost outside. We're homesteaders. So we wanted to make compost for ourselves at first. And then it quickly got to something that we were like, I can't handle making this amount of compost at home. So then we asked for help of the community, and we found that.
Work with a local farm. They would come and pick up. And then we've outgrown this area in general. And the facility that we work in now miraculously compost, which they don't really publicize, which I feel like they could and should, because it's rare in the food industry, socially and environmentally responsible. So this is like the opposite of what you asked, but composting, oddly, we've been able to really continue that with our growth kind of at ease.
So the stainless steel, the corrosion thing is interesting. Obviously, investing that much money into those, So now with scale, because obviously you're doing more, you're producing more, all those things are happening. Does that mean that corrosion is happening even faster now? Are there ways to mitigate it? Is that like a stress point in terms of like how soon you'll need to replace?
Yeah, it can be. It's kind of a rare occurrence. If we have our protocol and everybody follows the protocol of how to clean the fermenters and
Oh,
store them, and if
okay.
they get brine on the top of them, you have to clean it off. It's a hands-on process. And if it's neglected, then sometimes there's corrosion that happens never within the fermenters. Corrosion happens where brine meets air. So we have a sealed lid, but the very top where the lid connects, you can find corrosion. And on the lid itself is really like the point that needs to be addressed. At times, there's maintenance that happens. We haven't ever had to throw away or get rid of a fermenter. It's more just have people weld it from time to time or keep them in good working order. Not too hard.
So that's not really a stressor. And then obviously, like in terms of sourcing glass, shipping glass, because, that's been a conversation with some of my other guests that are in the food world. Glass always is best, but it can come with cost. Has that been a stressor at all?
In moments, yeah. Definitely supply chain issues during COVID were huge with glass.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, domestic glass has such a high price point that to meet a good price point with a distributor and on the shelf, we're not able to, or up until this point, we've yet to find somebody that can work with us and get domestic glass. So it does come from overseas. There's no way around that. And at times it's been China, sometimes Indonesia, different areas. The smart thing for us is to always have at least 3 different options of where to source things from, because
Right.
when supply chain issues happen, you can't be out of stock on the shelf. We would lose it all if we're out of stock for X amount of time.
Right.
So during COVID, we had to try and figure it out, and it got really tight, and we had to buy in bulk in times that we couldn't even fit glass anywhere. And if you would have seen our teeny little kitchen, we had it stacked to the ceiling with glass in moments because we just didn't know when we were going to be able to get more glass in.
Wow.
So that's a stressor. I personally feel like in the world of recycling, glass is one of the only sure to be recycled things, I would hope.
It's easily reusable too.
Easily
that's
reusable.
For sure.
It's universal thread on the lid, so you could can with our jars. A big thing that we like to do is our labels, we get them printed with the adhesive so that it peels off easy. And that's something that, if you look at the very corner of it, we have a little thing like pull here to peel off easy and reuse. And
I love that.
I know how frustrating it is to try and peel a label to reuse it. And you're sitting there scrubbing and adhesive ruins your sponge. And so glass is important to me. We will continue to do it. But yeah, it's a huge cost.
So obviously when you were smaller at the farmers markets, sourcing ingredients locally with local farms was a big deal. And then as you grew, obviously you needed to find new partners that could afford, more product for you. So how did you both navigate that? Like who you chose to partner with? Because obviously ingredients matter. What did that relationship building look like for you both?
Our cute little town is really, sweet, but working the farmers markets, we were just trying to figure out how can we support our family realistically. And I think we knew that we needed to expand. We're like, how do we get on the shelves to Whole Foods to actually get an income in this situation? So at that time, we were partnering with a local farm here called Super Tubers. And Chris, you had a really great connection with the farmer there. And both Local Culture and Super Tubers were growing to scale together.
Yeah, it was a simultaneous thing that worked out great for, I want to say about 3 years straight, possibly 4 years.
Uh-huh.
I saw how we grew alongside farmers as really like strengthening of our businesses and strengthening of our community.
Mm-hmm.
It was something that just felt really great up until it got to a certain point where we were busting at the seams and couldn't feasibly sustain ourselves in our local area, really is what happened. But from the get-go, working with farmers, directly with farmers, is the foundation of local culture. That's the seed of how it started, and that's the seed of how it grew. That also continues to this day, but it has evolved into something that we never would have fathomed that we could have done. The quick version of this story is Sprouts Farmers Market was the tipping point for us. We were at a great place where we were throughout the West Coast and growing on the East Coast. And Sprouts decided to want to take us nationwide with a bunch of SKUs all at once. And we're like, okay, we're going to do it. We're going to try and do it here. We had a facility here that was about 2,000 square feet. And half of that was fermentation. Half of that was production and packaging. And then we had a container out in the parking lot that was our cold storage.
Mm.
And at that point, it pushed us into like 900 stores, and we could see the momentum building. And that was probably the hardest year of my life. Yeah, that was very difficult. We lasted about a year in that situation.
Survival mode.
And that was very much like, how are we going to get like our local farms to produce enough for us? How are we going to get enough employees to hand pack this? How are we even going to physically fit the fermenters in this space?
Right.
And it brought us to a point where we realized very quickly that this was not sustainable. So we had to search far and wide for, okay, like, how can we get a bigger facility in our area? And also, how can we try and get more employees? And how can we do this? How can we do that? Well, we really couldn't. We couldn't find a place around here. We could build something, and the expense of that was just going to be a commitment that we didn't want to do.
I don't know if we would have made it, really.
Yeah, even if we would have done that, I don't know if we would have made it.
And our facility at the time, like Chris said, he laid out the space. After the marketplace, we needed to leave that space. So we moved into like a warehouse, and it was 1,000 square foot warehouse. And then we were at the seams with that place. So then we bought the container. So then we kind of like literally spilled out into the parking lot.
We were fermenting in the container, and we built like a little breezeway in between.
Don't worry, it was like county search.
Yeah.
We inspected.
Yeah.
And then we were like to the brim there, and then we rented out another unit in the same
space. It was like a forklift ride down. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kept on like bumping out. But Chris is just really smart. Like, we could have just gone for the big place to start with, but then we probably would have gone out.
Yeah, it just makes no sense to do that.
Yeah.
You have to start incrementally if you're going to make it work, if you're funding it yourself. Right?
Yeah.
That's a key part.
That's the big thing.
Yeah.
It's real easy to have a great business and build a deck and go out there and raise some money and
get your VC backs. And
well, if you even can get VC backs, but then you don't own your business.
Right.
That's what we wanted to do from the get-go. If we were to ever partner with somebody, it's got to be somebody within our family or on our team that's like on the same page.
Yeah.
That's not going to push us to do what we don't want to do.
Right.
So in this process, when we were bursting at the seams with Sprouts, it basically got me to network with anybody and everybody in the fermentation world, just cold calling people. Should we try and exit the company? And we realized really quickly that's not possible. No one's going to pay for a little business. Like, we seemed great to that outsider, but then when you actually looked at our business model, it didn't make sense to anybody because we didn't know what we were going to do. So at that point, we eventually found an amazing father-daughter team.
Yeah.
Duo that is located in Western Colorado in this beautiful area called Hotchkiss. And they are brand owners of other fermented foods brands. So respect and admire. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. They had built out a facility that at the time had a lot of extra room, and it was for fermented foods. Also, for applesauce. So Hotchkiss, it's like the land apple orchards, really like stone fruits and apples, but it's farmland. They grew up farming apples and farming. They got into applesauce and then got really intrigued by fermented foods because they saw the benefits that it had on their own bodies and Also, they just thought that this is like the coolest industry category to get into. Why not gut health, you know?
Right.
Quickly, we realized that they had room there. And we were like, okay, could it be possible that we can move local culture production out there?
Wow.
That was a big feat. Long story short, we did it. We had to, sadly, very sadly, shut down our local production because we had no means to do it.
Right.
The doors that it opened has evolved into such a beautiful, supportive partnership where we are working alongside other brand owners working as a team. And these are brands that have very similar values that we do. We have our differences within the brands, but together now we're talking 2.5 years later. It's a collective where we work together, we compost together, we farm together. So these direct relationships with farmers that was so important to us from the beginning, we still source from some of these same farms, regional farms in the Central Valley here in California.
Yeah.
We also put a ton of energy every year into growing one big crop of cabbage that we grow for all of the brands together. The compost that we make on site there, that gets directly amended into the cabbage fields that grows the cabbage and the other produce for our jars of sauerkraut. And it's this full loop circle. So really it's evolved into this vision of what I could only have dreamed of before when we were bursting at the seams, into this place where we really are working together and have that support that we dreamt of before.
It's a pretty cool story, even though obviously there were hardships, and there were challenges and it was overwhelming and all this stuff. From what you both have said, compared to a lot of other stories I've heard about, it feels like yours was infused with a lot of serendipity almost. Like the right things happened at the right times for the story of local culture. I feel like that's impressive. Hopefully
Thanks.
you recognize that too. What was the timeline in terms of like farmers markets in Grass Valley to like the Sprouts deal and then to Colorado journeying? What did that look like?
We're going on 8 years right now total from the seed of the business. We started landing accounts and jumped into distribution right as COVID started to hit. So 2020.
Farmers markets are in 2018.
Yeah.
And then we moved into the marketplace. We were only there for like a year and a half. And we moved in there in like 2018. And then we landed Whole Foods and we could not get pallets picked up.
We landed a region at Whole Foods.
A region. Northern California Whole Foods, but our brick and mortar downtown, we couldn't get pallets picked up because our kitchen was like...
The doors were too small.
Yeah, it was...
It's really what it came down to. It's historic.
It's a historic
town,
district.
So you can't just like make a bigger door. That was a no-brainer. We had to move into a warehouse to do that.
Speaking of serendipity, we were able to move out and change lease. We got out of our lease February 2020. Like our place was finally empty. We were like cleaning it out to move out and listening to the news. We're like, wow. It's about to shut down. And we were able to move out of our, storefront into a warehouse where,
closed door where we
door.
could actually legally operate as essential workers the whole time, which was a huge
food industry.
Yeah. Wow.
And also we brought on a third partner, Alyssa, right during that time. And that timing was impeccable because school shut down. So all of a sudden I was home with a toddler and trying to work from home. And she was able to like take the reins from the administrative side of things. So that was really, really helpful. So that was 2020. And then we landed Sprouts after Expo.
Yeah, we continued growing from 2020 just throughout the West Coast. And then
just grassroots.
2022, there was a sit-down presentation with Sprouts and Cristina went in and we were the only brand out of...
The only brand.
I don't know how
at
many,
Expo that they picked up.
A couple hundred, it sounded like. They called it speed dating. It was like, you have 5 minutes with the team and here you go.
Wow. That
was a huge boost for us and that was really amazing. So that was 2022.
And then that same show, Alyssa had to sit down with Kehi, got picked up by Kehi. distribution.
Yeah, which we would have done
had to with
anyways,
Sprouts anyway, but. That we would have had to with Sprouts anyway, but that was a boost.
Yeah, so we had some wins there. But side story, I do want to tap into the story of Sprouts. Sprouts was incredible for exposure, and we had a category manager that hand selected us, that loved us, supported us, and it felt really good. And it continued to feel really good for about 2.5 years. And just recently in the spring, we got notice that Sprouts was going to replace us with a private label sauerkraut in a glass jar.
Which means like their label. Private label is like under Sprouts name.
Brand. So we could have seen this coming. It has been a huge awakening.
It was a sad day.
It was a sad day. But also there's been a lot of blessings that have come from it through the whole process. If you put all your eggs in one basket, and we didn't have all of our eggs in one basket, but we had half of our eggs in one basket. And there's a decision like that that's made from a buyer level, but more a corporate level. They just decided like, we need to get a private label and it happens to be this. And it kind of like is the same thing that we are in their eyes. It's a hard reality. But through the process, I have been greatly inspired by the quality retail partners that we do have and can grow into.
Yes.
That really is like the independents that are out there. It's your co-ops, it's your natural food stores.
Mm-hmm.
These are the people that are really that really want to support you. There could be an awesome buyer of a big chain that feels like they want to support you, and they do, but the moment that they're not there anymore, there could be a corporate decision that just really hurts the small family manufacturer that we are. So it's been a journey.
I mean, it could come full circle at some point because there is something to be said for like brands that you just know and love. And obviously I haven't tried whatever their sauerkraut's going to be. So
I haven't either.
I won't know until I know. But I do think, to your point, really good to diversify. Like, you guys aren't at natural grocers, are you?
We are in some. So it's not just yet. They're working toward trying to create that, but
which is the same in all stores. Right. That's what a corset is. Yeah. So natural cultures is cool in the way in which they like one store can bring you in that store and you have to win them store by store.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
And they're really great. And yeah, we're in like 15 or 20 throughout the West Coast and we want to grow it, but sometimes you get dropped by one and you get picked up by another one.
Oh, so I need to just like go into mine and say, why don't you guys have this?
Yep. We can get in natural grocers in your area.
Okay. That's good to know. All right. I ask this question to everyone. Some people don't like this question. What does wellness mean to you both?
It's just a way of life decisions, choices.
Mm-hmm.
We're very, very privileged culture. We have a lot of opportunity for choices and just making certain choices. It's good to become friends with our vices or kind of like acquaintances. To know who they are, whether it's like alcohol or caffeine or sugar or social media or, screens.
Mm-hmm.
Have a relationship with them so that you can try your best to have like a healthy relationship with them. And I feel like that could be a path to wellness.
Wellness for me is health. It's vitality. When I think of wellness for myself, it's like a thriving version of myself. Food is medicine. And that's one of the passions that's kept me going in this whole thing. This whole food and beverage CPG industry is gross. It's broken. I'm going to say it like it is. It's very corrupt.
Very corrupt.
And it's very hard for those medicine makers that we are to survive. It's really easy for these big corporate entities to take over.
Right.
But like real food as medicine, that's what we're trying to do. So that's wellness. For me, that's wellness. Wellness is like our journey right now.
I love that. Do you both have any daily non-negotiables? So when it comes to like waking up and feeling your best, especially as parents and as business owners, are there any like things that you must do to get your day started?
Well, I'm looking at you. He's very disciplined.
To get my day started, there's not a lot to get it started. It's like that self-time, the practices, those little moments that we take to take care of ourselves, to exercise to stay healthy, all quick forms of meditation and prayer, connection with Great Spirit or God or whatever you want to call it is essential. I wouldn't be the same without it on a daily.
I'll just Chris has his lemon water every morning. He's like very, very good about lemon water. He doesn't drink any caffeine. He's drinking herbal tea right now. You have like this good night rhythm. For me, it's age dependent. For me as a woman, I think, and I say I think because this is just my own story and like age of the children, kind of coming into non-negotiable, like stepping into my 40s of needing alone time. So that creates a healthy space for me.
I understand what you're saying right now, Cristina. How do you both see gut health? It's becoming more of a topic or more prevalent in conversation with people. Your second immune system or something is all in your gut, sort of those discussions. But from your seat, because of the product that you create, how do you see gut health fitting into the larger wellness convo?
When I think of larger wellness combo, I think of like the industry we're in, and I think of like probiotic sodas and, sugary drinks. I'm very candy coating the industry. I have strong feelings of it. But I think real gut health, real fermentation is
natural fermentation. I'm a true believer of this. There's proven history. There's like an age-old proof of centuries of cultures fermenting foods. For food preservation for one, but also just pure proof of like people crave it. And also it's what brings that wellness to those cultures, right? So there is a lot of hype right now on gut health. There's a lot of hype on different variations of gut health, from probiotic supplements to pre and probiotic fibers and postbiotics. And really what it comes down to for me is like these simple, delicious fermented recipes that people have done forever. It's proven like sauerkraut is beyond good for you. Microbial content, the fibers, all aspects of it are just nourishing for oneself.
Yeah.
There's no denial there. Gut health is huge. And I think it needs to get much bigger because our society is pretty sick. Generally, like we have very poor gut health. And a lot of it comes from the daily things that we're putting into our bodies. And sorry to say, but like a little bit of sauerkraut or kimchi is not going to help that. People need to get to the core of like what they're eating and what they're putting in their bodies. And then on top of that, fermented foods is only going to make oneself feel that much better.
What do you think people need to be more discerning of? Because to your point, now there is so much choice almost with like the things that are being marketed to people of like, this is a great prebiotic drink. There's so much of that where people think, and maybe they're making a better choice than like Coca-Cola or something like that, right? But like for the people that are going into the markets and kind of sifting through this stuff, what do you wish was going through people's brains a little bit more clearly when they're trying to make these selections for themselves?
It's a good question. The trickiest piece is the marketing aspect. I'm not going to speak for everyone. I'm drawn to pretty things, We look for the pretty labels or the bright something or just something that catches our specific eye. So that's tricky. For us, organic is important.
Yep.
And that's a little bit of a no-brainer for us, but it's not for everyone. When we pitch our product, we'll say like certified organic, and then also recognize that honestly doesn't matter to everyone, like to buyers, to big chain buyers. They'd rather see a better price point than it be organic. But organic is a big piece. The simple ingredients, I always read ingredients. I think that's a good practice to start. We can pick up the pretty thing and then look. And if it's just like this, I don't even know, like shopping list or whatever.
Okay, I'll say it. Say it.
Yeah.
So like the other day, I was talking to a friend about kombucha, right? And I've been drinking GTs for a while. I prefer that one to a lot of others, right? They said to me, that's just all sugar. Like it's a lot of sugar. And it's so obvious. It's so obvious. And yet it took my friend being like, Alison. And I feel like it's those types of things where, yes, better than Coca-Cola. Okay, fair, like,
For sure.
and if you're not doing it all the time, fair. But it's like having the awareness of like, what is actually the stuff that you're putting in your body, right? So like when you're talking about organic cabbage that's like grown in a certain way and fermented in a certain way and stainless steel and all these things and all the good bacteria that's created in that process compared to sugar, you kind of weigh those things and it's a different entity, right? When you really think about it. So I feel like these are the things that people should just, we need to lean more into that stuff, like the real knowledge of like what you're putting into your body.
Yeah, but it's tricky because sugar monsters are real and they want to be.
Well, yeah, that's true.
We have some friends with a company called Biotic that I don't know if you can find out in Boise, but I love their line of probiotic drinks because it's kvass and it's like very minimal sugars.
Okay.
No added sugars.
No added
it's
sugars.
Only
It's just
fruit and
like
real sugars.
Okay.
They're fermented carrots. And also I enjoy kombucha,
Yeah.
Yeah. Kombucha tastes good. And, there's a part of it that's an age old culture. There's a tradition there. So there's something to be said for that. Most of the kombuchas out there have a ton of sugar, more than they really need to taste good. Most of them are pasteurized too, and they repitch cultures in the end. So that's a really crazy thing to be aware of. More in the beverage world, the scarier it is. But there are products like Biotic, which I can stand behind 100%. That's real fermentation, that's real vegetables and fruit juices. And it's real good. It tastes incredible.
This is like not like a plug for their own like soda line, Nira, which is like actually like probiotic sodas, and their root beer is like actual roots. It's reading helps.
Yeah, but how to spread that awareness to the consumers is really hard. And
tricky.
Especially these days, there's all these influencers out there. Some of them are spreading great knowledge, and some of them are spreading total BS that people believe and listen to.
Right.
So it's really hard. I mean, for us, what I pray for us, and I think this works sometimes, is that our branding is pretty enough that the average person will just randomly pick it up and they'll eat it. This is delicious. And they'll go back and buy another one. And so they don't know the whole story about us or why we're doing it differently than anyone else.
Yeah.
But somehow they found us and they're going to continue to buy us. And I think that's true. A lot of the time, I think that is true.
I mean, that's kind of how I found you. I mean, for me, maybe it was the packaging, but I feel like it was the interesting collection of ingredients that I was, intrigued by.
Yes.
And then from there it was, I got to try them all. So yes, I do think that that's a path. Do you think that we've talked enough about quality challenges as you've scaled? So I guess when you made the move to Colorado and what that looked like, have we addressed enough about any flavor issues, consistency of product issues, shelf stability issues, like any of that stuff? Is there anything else that you reflect on or you think would be helpful for another entrepreneur to hear?
Yeah, for sure. There's been issues with variations of quality and everything from the get-go. Down to fermentation is wild. You can put in similar ingredients into a fermenter. They can come out completely different. You can get different color variations. You can get different taste profiles. You can get anything. So actual quality fermentation at scale is a very hard thing to replicate. You can have the same recipe, but you buy this turmeric root at this time of year compared to this turmeric root at that time of the year, and it's like night and day. And you buy beets this time of year, these beets from this farm that has these, minerals and microbes in their soil, and it's totally different.
I feel like it comes up with cabbage. Like
cabbage
winter
is
cabbage.
huge. Yeah, there's, different sugar content in cabbage, different moisture content.
Like different seasons.
And there's storage cabbage, and then there's like spring cabbage and summer cabbage. And there's so many different variations, but That to me is the fun thing. That's like if you're really into quality wines, they're never alike. Every year is going to taste very different to the next year. The same grapes. So that's the beauty of small batch fermentation. But from quality perspective, the consumer, we get complaints all the time about like, why does it taste like this? Why does it look like that? Why is it different? Well, it's different because of this. Trust me, it's still going to taste good, but yes, it's slightly different. This kimchi is way spicier than that. Well, all jalapenos have a different spice level to them. It's really hard to make that exact across the board.
That's a really interesting point. Have you thought about putting any of that info somewhere in the label? Like reinforcing some of that of like,
People don't read much.
yeah, you're like, they don't read anything.
We've tried to put as much information as possible in like picture form, an icon form to make it fun.
The thing with our products is they're totally alive and they're in a glass jar, so they get active. And if they're fermented, completely, they will get sometimes explosive and they'll leak out, or they scare people. So we have these very large, in our opinion, disclaimers on the back of our jars that show all of this, but you would be amazed at how many people reach out terrified, like, is this going to be okay? Or it just blew beet juice all over my
When I opened my beet juice, I was like, oh, it's really alive today, isn't it? I was like, it's happy. I can understand that perhaps many people are not like me. So things like that would make them go.
That can be a bummer. Beet juice all over your counter.
Yes.
Who wants that?
And I get that.
I mean, it's almost like open at your own discretion. This could be explosive or it might be calm. We don't know because magic happens inside this jar.
Life's a mystery.
On the tamper seal of a great company, Mother-in-Law's Kimchi, they used to have this tamper seal that had like a stick figure opening a jar and getting sprayed in the face.
Oh, yeah. See? Okay.
I guarantee you most people will still miss that.
Oh, sure. Yeah, you're still going to get emails. It's just like the nature of the human race or something.
I get it.
How many people comprise Local Culture now?
Oh, very small team right now. Yeah, the collective in Colorado is quite a few, but that's representing quite a few different brands. Even co-manufacturing, like for other companies in that. So we have a very small team. We work with a team daily of 5-6 people in multiple brands.
Yep.
It's been a really great thing in a lot of ways to slim down what we once had and have, in my opinion, like a more efficient team or a more educated team, I guess. And we're spread very thin because we're doing so many different things at once. But very much we are still just a husband and wife behind Local Culture most of the time.
The last few convos I've had, so I had the CEO of Plant Paper on. They're a very small team and they're doing, pretty big numbers. I just had the CEO of Brandwin on. They do merino wool undergarments for women. Same thing. So it seems to be happening more with these very mission-driven brands that have figured out ways to operationalize in a very efficient manner. It's a really good thing because honestly, more people just creates more opportunities for stress. And I say this as someone that came from companies of 9,000 people, right? So I applaud when you can keep it efficient and, just what you need, you bring on when you need to, and that kind of a thing. And if the business is working, the business is working. There's no need to have more. So yeah, I say well done to that. Okay. So if a brand's success is measured not just in the jars that you sell, but, the feeling that people get, and certainly I've shared a little bit about my own feelings of your product. How do you think you're winning? Obviously, you got a lot of feedback early on when you had your storefront and at the farmers markets, but I want to hear some of the stories of people that are telling you things about their health or their wellness, things that they've noticed because of your product.
Yeah, we get them a lot. I would say for every complaint, we get a very positive, just like, oh my gosh, I have never tried anything like this. You totally helped my health issues. You've done this. This is the only sauerkraut that I can consume. And I've tried all of these. And there's not like anything that comes to mind, like a journey with a customer that's really made an individual impact on me, but on a almost daily basis, that positive feedback really just makes all the ickies go away. It's just like all those feelings of just wanting to be done and over it. When I get an email or a phone call with the positivity that they often come through with, it just totally makes my day.
I
And
love
it's like,
that.
right, we're doing something good out there. And also for a person to like something so much that then they look us up online and then they actually write an email.
That's right.
Huge. It's pretty rare that you get somebody to like give you positive feedback and take time out of their day to do it.
Amen to that.
Yeah. Sweet.
I could go on a rant right now about people that I've reached out to be on the pod.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
no, it's hard. Most people don't want to communicate.
it's so interesting. Okay, maybe touch on a little bit. Were you both eating sauerkraut before the farmers markets? Like, how big was sauerkraut in your wellness journey before this? And I guess if it wasn't that significant, once this all happened, and now obviously you're eating a lot more of it, have you two noticed anything where you're like, wow, this is better or this is better? Anything that you think would be helpful for people to know?
Yeah. So fermented foods for me has always been very intriguing and fun and a passion. And whether it was like making kombucha or jun or kimchi or sauerkraut or kefirs or
Ginger beers.
ginger beers. Yeah. I spent a lot of time in the tropics where I didn't have a fridge and I wanted to like just eat really well and I didn't have a lot of things available. So that journey of being in the tropics, Sandor cats made a huge impact on me. Wild Fermentation was one of like the 4 moldy books that I had in the jungle in my 20s. And
Moldy because everything was
moldy in
down
the
there.
jungle. But yeah, I tried a lot of different things. And it wasn't so much like a daily ritual. Fermented foods wasn't a daily thing until local culture became our lives.
Okay.
I would incorporate almost daily some type of fermented food, but now it's a staple.
Yeah.
Now, if you would look at our fridge, it's humorous. How many jars of sauerkraut do we have in there? And we can go through a jar very quickly. There's been many a taco nights with carrot cilantro where we basically go through an entire jar, just us and our family.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
It's really good.
So I have noticed huge differences in my daily life with fermented foods. But I think that also goes to just healthy practices in general. It's not like you're going to eat fermented foods and feel incredible. It's going to help. It's going to help a lot. And for some people that have major gut issues, it's possibly far more noticeable than people that don't have, because I didn't come into this with like IBS and crazy issues myself.
Yeah.
But we do hear those stories. That is a thing.
Yep. So yeah, it's made a huge impact on my life.
Good. Well, yes, in many ways. Cristina, did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
I think I'm with Chris. I don't notice a big shift. We eat so much sauerkraut in our house. One thing that's tricky with sauerkraut is its sodium content, just because that's a natural form of fermentation.
Yep.
We see salt. So it is hard for those that are watching their salt intake as far as eating the copious amounts that we do.
What salt do you guys use? Like, how do you source your salt?
Sea salt, we just kind of stuck with the salt and it works for us. I am into variations of salts and I do think that there's different mineral contents and amazing qualities. Salt is a medicine. Bad sodium is not good for you, right? Artificial sodium or treated bleach sodium is not great for us. Natural salts are great, but we have just stuck with a good sea salt that has good mineral content in it. And it works great for us.
Okay. I feel like you and I could offline topic this because I'm becoming like a salt snob or something.
It's amazing the variations out there and
I know
the flavor and how it makes us feel.
I fully agree. All right. If you could leave a piece of wisdom for future entrepreneurs that are perhaps on a mission of creating something meaningful and giving back or what have you, what would that wisdom or advice be?
Be aware of the big guys Again, we come from the CPG world, which is consumer packaged goods. If someone were to go into that industry and is interested, just say, for example, interested in distribution, there are a handful of amazing small distribution companies that are a joy to work with, that you can create like a symbiotic relationship with. On like Tony's Fine Foods, based out of Sacramento over here, Rainforest Food Distribution, based out of New York, Seattle Fish Company, ironically based out of Denver. Just like smaller companies, it's actual people. Just a breath of fresh air. And I'm just going to go ahead and say it. The larger companies like Unify and KeHE are corporations.
There are good people that work for them.
There are great people that work for them.
Yeah, and we've had some angels come through.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, if you are unaware of it, they will just pinch every little dollar that you can make out of you.
So yeah, there's that.
Yeah, my advice, if someone's like wholeheartedly feeling whatever they're making that they really want to share with more people than their family or at their farmer's market, don't hold back. Do it. Like if you really believe in it, do it, because no good food is going to get out there if people are like resistant to trying. I definitely encourage people to make connections with other people that have been doing it and find their mentors or people that can help guide them, because there's so many things that I wish I would have learned before jumping into this. And if I would have known, it's possible that I wouldn't have done it.
Ooh.
So with that being said, I don't know what's best. It's good to be a little bit blindsided, and it's good to also ask a lot of questions.
Right.
And not go too big too quick. Scale is the big thing.
Ignorance is bliss.
A very important thing is to have somebody that understands finances from the beginning and can actually look at what you want to sell your product for and the competition out there and give you an idea of like, you might not ever make money on that.
Right.
Because it's not all about money. I'll say that we don't care about making money. We care about being sustainable as a business.
Supporting our family.
And that's very small. But just being sustainable, not wasting money all the time, because so many businesses out there try and grow really quickly and they're just burning money left and right. And I suggest people to do as much as they can on their own. Don't dive into sales management or have a broker help you. There's all these people out there with big promises, like they're going to do everything for you.
Right.
And for them, they have a guaranteed pay. They're working hard, but if they don't succeed, they don't lose. You're still going to have to pay them, but the brand itself isn't going to succeed. I think you have to be really driven to do it and go all in. If you're going to do it, you have to go all in and you have to believe it. If you doubt it from the get-go, just stop. But often when I talk to people from the beginning and they're curious to maybe take a product or something a little bit bigger or out there, test the waters in your local area first.
Right.
Start at a farmer's market or little markets here or there, or get into your mom and pop natural food store. See the reaction of the people. If you feel like there's a positive reaction, then at that point, think about taking it one step further. But if you don't get that overwhelming response from your local community, you're not going to get it from the greater community out there.
Yeah. Yep.
So if it's not feeling really good and supported, I recommend not trying. And also, like, you can have a cool product and sell it locally and probably be profitable. If you're making it and you're selling it, you put in a lot of time, but you're going to receive a bit of profit. The moment that you take that step into working with a distributor and wholesale and all these different things, that's where you're probably not going to see profit for quite a while, unless you have built your margins so well that it's unstoppable. And there's very few people out there that can achieve the right price point out there and still have really great margins. It's possible.
Right.
Like you really want to look at it first before you go out there.
The brand that came to mind when you were saying that, I was like, Liquid Death. I feel like they did okay. All right, we're going to do something I call extra credit, quick fire round, because this is the Dean's List, so you get some extra credit. First thing that comes to mind, early birds or night owls?
Early birds.
Night owl.
Oh, okay. We already know this for Chris, but we don't know it for Cristina. Coffee, tea, kombucha.
Mate.
Oh, so kind of tea for both. Okay, that's cool. Okay.
Stimulating tea.
What's the first ferment that you did as Local Culture?
We launched with 5.
But I feel like it was beet fennel was the actual first one that we ever made.
Okay, cool. Is there a flavor combo you tried that did not work?
Yeah.
Immediate, yeah.
I've done some weird things with dilly beans that just kind of taste gross.
We still have people being like, bring the dilly beans back. So
No, not just flavor combinations.
okay.
Nothing has been downright terrible, but yeah, I made a bunch of mediocre ferments out there.
Okay. What is your musical genre of choice? Is there a different one when you're working versus when you're not?
In the facility, we used to bump a lot of reggae, hip hop, and electronic music. Just keep it moving and keep it going quick.
Okay.
What we would do in the facility.
Computer side of things, where I need like focus and concentration, I do like massage music and like focus music. I like Danit, so you can look her up and go from there.
Spell it.
Danit, new agey spiritual.
Okay, I'll look it up.
Embarrassed to even describe it.
No, it's fine. I feel like you already said this, Chris, the Wild Ferment book. Is there any other books that you recommend or that have left an imprint on both of you?
A favorite book that was a favorite standing for a while was Braiding Sweetgrass.
Raining or reading Sweetgrass?
Braiding Sweetgrass.
Chris, are you going with Wild Ferments or is there any other books?
Wild Fermentation is...
Wild Fermentation.
Yeah, hands down
Okay.
the most inspirational book that's affected my journey. So
I like that. What's one wellness ritual that you both can't live without? If you had to choose one.
right now, my lemon water would be it. Pretty exciting.
That's sweet. I love going to my workout studio. That's just what feeds me.
Good.
Yeah.
Is there a funny or funniest farmer's market memory from the early days?
Oh, I think of our son.
Yeah.
Just because I'm a mom. He would always ask people if they want to try the carousel. Like, want to try?
That's cute. I hope you have that on video.
I don't
Me
know,
too.
but it's deeply ingrained. We did a lot of farmers markets as a family.
Yeah, we dragged him
The
to.
first year, and then we were like,
Every
we
single
don't
one.
need to do that. Let's just take turns.
Yeah. I think he also wanted to like present as like the
Yeah.
actual family that we are. Like this is a family business trying to make this work, you know.
People like that too. I think they respond well
Yeah.
to seeing that. What's one word you would use to describe your business journey so far?
Long.
Long.
It feels like lifetimes to me.
Wow.
I want to say like arduous.
Arduous. Long and arduous. Okay. If Local Culture had to fit on a bumper sticker as like a 5-word line, what would be on that bumper sticker?
I don't know. I mean, could it just be certified awesome?
Local Culture certified awesome, or Local Culture is certified awesome.
Yep. There you go.
That's 5 words. Okay, I like it. Is there anything we did not talk about that you were hoping we would?
No, I don't think so.
All right. Well, then, where can people find the Local Culture goods?
You can reference our where to buy on our website. That will give a pretty up-to-date list. But generally speaking, if you're on the West Coast or greater West Coast, there's going to be a natural food store close to you that should have it.
We are working at the kinks of our e-commerce. We've tried twice to launch it and are navigating the best way to safely get our products to you.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah, in another week or
Soon.
two, our website will be live and you can order straight from us.
So by the time the episode goes live, people should be able to buy from the website. Okay, so say the website name.
Local Culture Ferments.
.com.
Yep.
Okay, good. If you can't find it in a store, or if you don't want to order via the website, you can walk into your natural foods environment and tell them that they should be stocking their shelves with the local culture, which I have homework to do at my natural grocers. So that's fun. Okay, Chris, Cristina, thank you so much for being on the Dean's List.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for watching this episode of the Dean's List, where we explore the art of building well. If you enjoyed this conversation, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel, share it with a friend who'd love it too. I appreciate it. If you prefer to listen on the go, you'll find the full audio version wherever you get your podcasts. This community is all about building businesses and lives that feel good, and we'd love to have you along for the journey. I'm Alison Dean. I'll see you in the next one.